That was funny. They spoof each other every year. We're happy. So, Marty, it's your turn next year. You get the spoof, and we will not tell you what it is. It's time for us to honor some really amazing, courageous, and extraordinary people this morning. The first people we always honor are the people who give us heart. The Interfaith Committee for Workers Justice has participated in dozens of campaigns supporting the struggles of service workers and working people over the years. What all workers have in common for the most part is that they labor in low-paying service industries where they struggle to make ends meet to support their families, and they are often forced to work 2 or more jobs. Their suffering and their poverty is unconscionable to people of faith. Together we raise our voices against injustice and to champion sustainable wages and benefits, health care and dignity on the job, and policies that support working families. In the past year, in this very year alone, we have engaged in heartbreaking and heartwarming worker solidarity campaigns. You can find a list of our current campaigns on pages 12 and 13 in your program booklet, so I will not go over them with you, except to say that even in these challenging times, working people in San Diego County have extended themselves by lifting their voices for justice, and we have been honored to stand beside them, whether right here in San Diego County or in the halls of Sacramento or Washington, D.C. And I will tell you, just for a brief moment, the standout story of my year. You can picture this. We are sitting in a filled sanctuary at Good Samaritan Church in La Jolla. We are doing a pilgrimage for justice, urging the owners of what are called the cathedrals in UTC of business to provide health care for their janitors after 10 years. And we are standing there and listening to the story of Rosa. Rosa has 4 children. They were all sadly born with asthma. She cleans office buildings in La Jolla, doctors' offices, pediatricians' offices, pulmonologists' offices. She dusts the pictures of their family vacation. She washes their toilets, and she cannot take her children to be a doctor. As you can imagine, there wasn't a sound in the sanctuary. But people were resolved that this would be the year, after more than 10, that Rosa would be able to take her children to the doctor, and she can. So we're going to invite right now a worker representing each of our campaigns to come out to tell you just in a second who they are, what they do, which union is part of their lives, and then we will hear just for a moment finally from one of our janitors.
Good morning.
Good morning.
My name is Deborah Mulvihill, and I'm a local 135 member. I worked with Rite Aid for 9 years. I'm a pharmacy technician in Poway, and I wanted to thank the I.C.W.J. for the Rite Aid employees. Thank you.
Good morning. I'm Erin Andreessen Cole. I'm a member of San Diego Education Association. I'm a middle school teacher at Thurgood Marshall Middle School for the San Diego Unified School District. It's my 10th year in the district. I've been teaching for 17 years. I'm also a member of the Evangelical Lutheran Church of America, which is part of the National I.C.W.J. And I was raised by a Teamster. So, thank you. I want to accept this award. Thank you so much on behalf of all the education workers and educators. It is a great honor. Thank you.
Good morning, everybody.
My name is Nelly Wadley, and I work in the La Jolla area for 13 years, almost 13 years, and I work in at the restaurant as a server, and also we organize and with Unite here local touring. Thank you for here. Thank you.
Hi, good morning. My name is Laura Garcia, and I come from Hilton Mission Valley and Department of Housekeeping. I'm a room attendant. I have 2 years ago working there. I'm organized for United Here Local 30. Thank you so much.
Good morning. My name is Robert Osborne. I work at the Western Gas Lamp. I am a culinary supervisor. I've been in that role for 16 years. I am a member of Local 30, and I am also a member of Dominion Center Church in National City, California.
Good morning, my name is Lucelena Olivas, and I work on La Jolla Marriott, like a supervisor, housekeeper, and I've been there for 15 years, and I'm Catholic, and I'm work with, not work, but I'm organized with local 30.
Hello, my name is Martha Sellers. I've been a cashier at Walmart for 9 years in Paramount, California. I'm a member of Our Walmart for Respect. I was arrested on Black Friday for the They have to listen and pay attention. We will win this fight with your help. Thank you so much.
It's one thing to know that people stand beside you. It's another thing for them to stand in a room next to you. So thank you all. And thank you for what you're doing. It's not easy, and we are, all of us, right next to you.
Good morning. My name is Marta Gomez. I have 4 years working at a janitor in the suburbs, and I'm working with SEIU.
Good morning, my name is Rosa Lopez, and I was captain of the negotiation committee during our contract negotiation, and I also part of the SEIU USWW board. I am very proud to say that after 5 years of hard work, the janitors in the suburbs will soon have family health care. We work hundreds of hours and enjoy with our labor community partners. We change San Diego for working families this November. We want to thank all the elected officials, community partners, our labor brothers and sisters for their leadership and continued support. Lastly, we would like to give a special thanks to Rabbi Lori and I.C.W.J. for this wonderful recognition, and Lorena Gonzalez. God has truly blessed us all. Thank you.
Rosa's first speech in English. Rosa, thank you.
Good morning, my name is Francisco Pineda, and I work for 20 years at the airport, and I'm member too of USWW, and I'd like to thank everybody that support us during our struggle with this campaign that we just finished our contract. So we'd like to thank everybody for your support, and thank you.
Thank you. It's my privilege with the workers on stage to introduce our next speaker. someone that I know well, someone I got to know really well, in particular over the course of the last 2 years. And as a father of young boys, I think a lot about how do you instill values in your children. And my oldest is entering school and is at an age where he can begin to understand things. And we were watching a show one night, and it was a story about the Civil Rights era. And my young boy turned to me and said, "Daddy, why did they not like black people?" And how do you explain that to a child? And we all know that there were a lot of people in that era that in their heart believed the right thing, but didn't have the courage to say it. But luckily, in order to advance a cause and a movement, there were people who were not only willing to say it, but they were willing to risk their own personal freedom to ensure the freedoms of others. Our next speaker was a leader in the civil rights movement. He was a freedom rider. He took that same passionate cause and brought it to San Diego as a member of the school board. He continued it as a member of the city council. He spent 2 decades in the United States Congress. And it gives me great pleasure to introduce my friend and our current mayor, Mayor Bob Filner.
Good morning. Thank you. Thank you all. Actually, I should be applauding you. You all made this happen. It's a new day in San Diego. And Nathan knows more about me than anybody because he had to hear it for a whole year and a half. By the way, I'm going to now reveal our secret plan to make me mayor. We inserted Nathan Fletcher into the race to draw the fire and the money and the resources of Mr. DeMaio so that I could just march in. Thank you, Nathan Fletcher. I mean, look, we're talking about issues that our whole country should be talking about. We're honoring people the whole country should be honoring, and we haven't done enough of that in San Diego, right? But we got school board members here. We got new Congress people here. Thank you, Juan Vargas, for you're soon going to take a seat in Congress. Is Susan here? Susan, thanks, Susan. We got Congress people. We got school board members. We got city council people. I mean, we are all going to be united here to do the right thing for San Diego and for working people. It's a new day. But we're going to have to change the way we work, by the way. We're going to ask new things from you. And you got to get used to the fact that we have power now. I saw this handout. Make poverty a priority. We're going to send the mayor 500 letters. We don't need those letters. We're already a priority. What I need is 500 people to organize to make sure we do it. Okay? Do things differently. We don't need to send the letters and sign petitions. We need the plan to make it happen and the people to make it happen because we are going to do this. We are going to end homelessness in San Diego. We're going to have livable wages. We're going to try to get affordable housing. We're going to do all this, but I need your help. I need your help. It's going to be harder to govern than to get elected. Believe me, because they're going to do everything they can to kill us off. We got to succeed, otherwise we discredit everything we all worked for, for our lives and for in this campaign where we had such incredible victories. And I see our labor leader, Lorena, right there. Thank you for, it was a clean sweep in the election. We got Susan and Scott Peters and Ron Vargas. Their first time there's a majority Democratic congressional delegation. First Democrat on the Board of Supervisors in 20 years. It's the first time in the history of San Diego that we have a Democratic mayor and a Democratic council. So it's going to change, but you cannot leave it to us. Politicians, we get in a little bubble and there's money going around and there's all this stuff. We need you. Franklin Delano Roosevelt was famous for saying he met with a group of labor leaders about, the New Deal and stuff, he said, well, you convinced me I'll do it, now go out and make me do it. That is, we got to keep organizing. You know, when we elected Mr. Obama in 2008, everybody said, oh no, it's all going to happen. No, those forces of reaction are too strong. They're too big. We got to keep organizing. Like, we lost those town meetings about health care under Obama. We should have been there at all the health meetings. There should have been no Obamacare. There should have been a public option that we all could have done. But we got him elected, and then we said, okay, he'll take care of it. We can't do that. I don't care if Susan, Juan, and me are there, and Humberto Peraza, and Marty Emerald. We got to organize. We got to organize, because we're going to be talking about issues, whether it's poverty or homelessness or energy or affordable housing or jobs. We're going to be talking about issues that my favorite publisher in the newspaper is not going to like, and the establishment is going to try to stop. But we beat them in this election with people, and we're going to be successful in our office with people. But we're going to keep having to go door to door. We're going to have to keep organizing, in churches and in homes and in unions, what these heroes have done for so long. We're going to have to keep doing it. It's going to get harder now, believe me, because we're going to try to do things that have not been done in San Diego. But we got to go from petitioning. We have the power. We're going to do it now. Thank you so much.
And we thought that we would invite Reverend Beth Johnson and Father Tommy Jennings to bless the workers from the campaigns that they represent today, as well as our new mayor. We know he was inaugurated, but he hasn't had multi-faith blessings yet, I don't think. And so this is your moment to be blessed, because we promise you, we will organize and we will keep your feet to the fire. What a joy it is to gather together to honor and celebrate those here today who work tirelessly in San Diego County for justice. We're grateful for the workers who inspire us with their courage and commitment. We offer a blessing for the janitors, city workers, hotel workers, store workers, educators, school personnel whose struggle ennobles us all and offers us a movement toward a better and more beautiful society. We pray for our mayor, that he will continue to stand alongside the working families as he has and is at this very moment. I would invite you to join me into that place of silence and honesty known by many names. I invite you to pray with me, to open your heart in a gesture of blessing, and if you're so inclined, to raise your hand in a gesture of blessing toward Mayor Filner, these workers. Pray with me. Spirit of life, Spirit of love, Spirit of beloved community, dear God. We ask for blessings upon these and all workers and Mayor Filner, that they may be uplifted and enlivened in the struggle for fairness. Blessed be the hands that labor tirelessly. Blessed be the feet that walk for justice. Blessed be the mouths that speak truth to power. Blessed be the eyes that see possibilities for a better world. Blessed be the hearts that beat with hope. Blessed be these workers this day and in the days to come. May we always and everywhere stand on the side of justice, love. And the people said, Amen.
Hoy celebramos y damos gracias porque es la obra de sus corazones y las manos que realiza la dignidad humana, atraer a la gente más junta y construir una comunidad mejor, mucho mejor. Hoy oramos por ti y por ti también. Porque el trabajo duro, que lo que haces es una parte fundamental de la fundación que construye una comunidad de justicia. Muéstrame mejor calidad, ciudad de América, y siempre apuntará a todo este trabajo duro que hace. Que Dios los bendiga realmente a cada uno de ustedes y todo el excelente trabajo que hacen por todos nosotros. Amén.
Good morning, Reverend J. Lee Hill Jr., and I am a board member of I.C.W.J. and also the pastor of Christian Fellowship Congregational Church, United Church of Christ. Just now you have been given a glimpse of the reason for our work. It's because we care about people. It's because we believe that justice can be achieved. It's because we believe that all of our faith call us to not only speak a word of justice, but to also do the work of justice. And we cannot do that work without you. We cannot successfully organize unless we have a well-oiled machine, and I.C.W.J. is that well-oiled machine. But it takes a little bit of grease in order to keep that machine running, and I'm talking about money this morning. This morning, we passionately appeal to each of you to make a special donation to the work of I.C.W.J. On your table is an envelope, and we ask that you would look at that envelope and to make a gift that will help us to impact the lives of countless workers in our community. If you believe in justice, we challenge you to be a voice and to give. If you believe that faith matters, we challenge you today to be a voice and give. The envelopes are on your table, and we ask that you contribute generously to the work of I.C.W.J. On behalf of the board and the staff, we thank you for your presence and also for your gifts today.
Thank you. It's my privilege to introduce to you two people that you know well. One of them just got elected to Congress, and the other one's about to get elected to the Assembly. We have, if you didn't see the news, Ms. Gonzalez recently announced for the California State Assembly, and by all accounts it's a campaign that was over before it even started. And Mr. Juan Vargas has been someone who has served for so long. He's been a friend and a mentor and a guide to me, as has Ms. Lorena, who I am probably in the company of people that have been yelled at her in multiple languages on multiple occasions. Well, let's give a loud welcome to Senator Juan Vargas, Congressman-elect, and Ms. Lorena Gonzalez.
So our next awardee is so special, he got two of us to come introduce him. I'm going to let the congressman go first, but I'm reserving my 2 minutes.
Well, first of all, now that we know what happened during the mayor's race, right, that we had to send Nathan out there, I think now it's time for you to come back in and become a Democrat. Take the full step, brother. Take the full step. Right? A number of years ago, my family and I were watching what was happening in Kosovo, a very small region in the former Yugoslavia where they were having ethnic cleansing. And they were killing people because they were Muslims. And my wife and I saw that and said, we're going to do something about that. And so we promised each other that we would adopt a family. We'd figure it out and we'd adopt a family. And that's what we did. We adopted a family. We got a family that came and they lived with us for 2 years. But our commitment to them was forever. That we would help them no matter what, for as long as we lived. And the woman, what she did is she could only bake bread. She didn't know how to do other things, unfortunately, because in the culture there, they didn't allow her to do things. She got a job at Ralph's, and she got to the bakery. And we were so proud and so excited. And then there was a strike. And this family was terrified because they'd finally gotten on their feet, and they came, and Sabdi told me, she goes, were so scared. And I said, you have the mightiest leader in the state on your side, Mickey Kasparian. I said, he's fighting for you, he's fighting for your daughters, he's fighting for your husband, that you have health care, that you have a decent wage, that you can make life here that you couldn't make back in Kosovo. He's fighting for justice. And I gotta tell you, he came through 100%. 100%. Never wavered. And this family is like my own family, and I have to say I couldn't believe that they could be in better hands. And they were just in the best hands, and thank you. You led everyone, but you led families like them through the most difficult time, I think, of unions here in San Diego, certainly in my lifetime. And you did it like a lion, really. You were a ferocious man, and you did it with grace. So thank you. It's an honor to be here for you.
So when I first came into the labor movement, I'll be really honest, most of you know I didn't come from, I didn't work my way up through the rank and file. I was brought in actually by Mickey as political director and then ran for secretary treasurer. And when you're looking for examples of how to be a good labor leader, you look to those people who prioritize their workers first and foremost. And for me, that was simple. As president of the Labor Council, I could look just straight to the job Mickey Kasparian was doing. He has never hesitated to put himself in the line of fire in order to protect his workers. And I think that that's something that as union leaders, all of us respect, and something that we all try to emulate. But beyond having the backs of his workers, which he always does, it was shown again when he took a strike vote last year and came up with over 90% approval. And anyone who's ever taken strike votes knows that's pretty tough, especially with a group of workers who had actually gone on strike and knew what that was about. That shows a lot of confidence in leadership. But on a personal note, having somebody who always has your back, even at times when you've done things that he's disagreed with, people would call Mickey and complain about me, and not once has he ever said that that was a valid complaint, even when he told me it was a valid complaint. He's never shown even an inkling of disloyalty, and I could not think of a more deserving person. I'm so lucky to have him as president of Labor Council, and so very lucky to call him a dear friend. The Labor Leader of the Year, Mickey Kasparian.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And it's an honor to be introduced by two people who I have great admiration and respect for, both Juan and Lorena. I've been told that I have about 5 minutes for my remarks, and that usually takes me that long to just say hello. I've also been threatened by both Nathan and Rabbi Laurie that if I'm not off in 5 minutes, they're going to tap me off of the stage. Now, I think I can give Nathan a run for his money, but I'm not messing with Rabbi Laurie, so I'm going to move this along quickly. You know, the award is great, but to me it's more important because of who it comes from. Rabbi Laurie, Jamie Gates, Lisa Maldonado, Sister Justine, Reverend Wayne Riggs, you have no idea the amount of respect and admiration that I have for you. For the work you do day in and day out for workers in this city, and for what you have done for Local 135 members, we will always be indebted to you. Thank you. You don't receive an award like this by yourself. This is a team effort, and I have to recognize, maybe I'm saying this on a selfish note,
but the hardest working staff that you can ever find in a union, my local 135 staff, and I want to say thank you for everything you do. To the incredible workers at the Labor Council, the staff, Lorena with her leadership, and to all my brothers and sisters in all the unions, you're a great inspiration, and I see every day what you do for working people, and I'm proud to call you a partner. My mom is here today. I want to recognize my mom. This may come as a surprise to a lot of you in this room, but I was a bit of a rebel as a kid growing up. Hard to believe, right? But my mom and dad always supported me, always stood by me, always loved me, and I love you more than you'll ever know. And finally, the person who is really my inspiration, my wife and my best friend, Sally. I would never be on this stage without her support and her love. And she's an amazing woman. She puts up with my crankiness and my moaning and my complaining, but she sacrificed a lot as well. And I love you so, so much. I get to thinking there's a lot of people in here from a lot of different walks of life, and we seem to so many times be working apart rather than together. We choose to go through an adversarial approach rather than a partnership. But we are more alike than we want to give credit for. I'll give you a couple of examples. I meet people all the time, and they'll say to me, "What do you do for a living?" "Well, I'm the president of a labor union." "Oh, you must be anti-business." And it's like, no, actually, I'm pro-business. Why would I be anti-business? Because I want business to flourish. I want business to grow. I want business to be successful. Because if that occurs, then the economy will flourish, jobs will be created, and we can get this city and this state and this country back to where we know it should be. Why would I be anti-business? But when a business is successful, I would expect that business gives their workers dignity and respect. They pay them a livable wage with affordable health care and a secure retirement. And I'm going to say a bad word on this stage. I promised I wouldn't use any cuss words. Pension. Because I know that's considered a bad word, but let me tell you something. If workers wanted to take their retirement and gamble with it, they'd go to Vegas and throw it on the crap table. Yeah. Workers should be receiving a defined benefit in this country. And then I run into other people. What do you do for a living? "Oh, I'm the president of a labor union." "I don't like unions." "Oh, you don't? That's okay. Do you work 40 hours a week?" "Yeah." "Do you get paid sick days?" "Yeah." "You get paid vacations?" "Yeah." "You get paid holidays?" "Yeah." Where do you think those things came from? Unions. Sisters and brothers, unions are not part of the problem in this country. They're part of the solution. Because when workers who are organized, they are not a burden on taxpayers. They are able to spend money in the community, they support local business, and they make our economy flourish. See, it's kind of simple. Business helping labor, labor helping business. It's a simple fact. But we always screw it up, right? We confuse things. There are people, individuals, who want to put walls up on our borders so people stop coming. I'd rather put walls up on our borders so jobs stop leaving. So let me say this, because I see Rabbi Lowy out of the corner of my eye, and I think she has a weapon. So Jewish women talk. There you go. Oh, then I'll really move it along. All right. Sisters and brothers, we have an opportunity, and it begins at this breakfast. We have an opportunity to put our differences aside and work together. Whether you're a man or a woman, a Republican or a Democrat, a labor leader, a community leader, somebody from the faith community, a business owner, gay or straight, African American, Latino, Anglo, or Asian. It doesn't matter, because we need to work together to support local business, support small and neighborhood business, support workers' rights to organize, so those workers in our city can be able to buy a vehicle, go on vacation, buy a home, send their kids to college, and that's the American dream that we know. That's the American dream that we love. So let's put up and let's shut up, okay? Let's work together, let's get it done, and I know everyone in this room can do that. Si se puede? Yes, we can. God bless you. Thank you very much.
I just told Mickey, we did tell him he had a time limit, in all honesty, after the fact, I got to tell you, I may be a Marine, but Mickey's a New Yorker who has been rumored to have a baseball bat. And he could have gone all day. I wasn't getting anywhere near this stage. Give him another round of applause. The I.C.W.J. is a great organization, and they want you to have a sense of the honorees who are going to be brought up next. Even though each of them are limited to 3 minutes, they're not from New York, they don't have baseball bats. I'm still a Marine, so if you go over 3, I will be coming back on stage. At this time, I would like to welcome to the stage to introduce our first honoree, who's going to answer the simple question, what person or experience inspired you to be engaged in justice for working families? And here to introduce Cindy Martin is our school board member Richard Guerrera and his sidekick Mr. Kevin Beiser. Please give him a round of applause. Thank you.
Just very quickly, we passed a proclamation at the school board the other night to honor and thank the Interfaith Committee for Workers Justice. And so President John Evans and our trustee Kevin Beiser are here to present that proclamation.
I have 30 seconds. Ready? Go. I think it's really important that I.C.W.J. is recognized for all the good work they've done for many years. So the board voted unanimously to present this proclamation to recognize and honor the work of I.C.W.J. Thank you very much. Rabbi Lori Koski, would you come up to the stage to accept your award and proclamation?
I'm happy to accept it, and we pledge to continue to support you.
Thank you. Thank you, Lisa.
15 seconds. We all did a great thing on November. We've turned the tide in San Diego and California. This is a great year. We're going to all work together. Thank you.
Well, I want to also thank Rabbi and I.C.W.J. for recognizing our next honoree. You know, when we think of voices for justice, often we have an image in our mind that, the great historical leaders in our nation's history, Harriet Tubman, and Rosa Parks, and Eleanor Roosevelt, and Martin Luther King, and Cesar Chavez. But when we think of those great leaders who made history, changed our country, we think of the qualities of those leaders, their vision, their eloquence, their courage, their energy, their strategic thinking as organizers, and their ability to inspire all of us to be more than we ever thought that we could be. So when we think of those qualities, imagine if we took all of those qualities and bottled them into one person, and that person spent a decade in a single elementary school in an inner city working class immigrant neighborhood. Imagine what that would look like. And we see it every day at Central Elementary School in City Heights. We see it in happy, thriving kids who have absolute confidence and belief that they're going to do great things in the world. We see that in the faces of those students. But we also see it in a staff of teachers and nurses and counselors and classified staff who can't wait to get to work every day because they're part of this incredible team that's going to do great things for kids. And then we see it in the parents who, for those brief moments during the week when they could be at a family Friday or a dad's club or just there to pick up their kids or take them to school, that brief moment when they say to themselves, it was worth the risk to come to this country. It's worth working that second and third job every day because we see the possibilities for our kids, that anything is possible in this country. That's the world that Cindy Martin has created at Central Elementary School for the past decade. And let me tell you, Cindy understands that to create and protect that world in that single community, she also has to work at the city level, at the broader level, at the more global level. I think Bill Freeman would agree with me that the deal that we were able to achieve this summer to save the jobs of 1,500 teachers and nurses and counselors wouldn't have happened without Cindy Martin. The ability to put a $3 billion bond measure on the ballot and pass it that's going to create great local jobs and local careers wouldn't have happened without Cindy Martin. So we've got one of the great voices for justice here in our city and in our time, and she's put her heart and soul into one single elementary school in City Heights. Please welcome Cindy Martin.
I really don't have anything else to say after that introduction, because you just said it all. So thank you. What an honor to be standing and recognized and honored by you, because we're all voices for justice. And when we stand for justice, whether it's with our voice or with our actions, the steps that we take, the words that we speak, the people that we interact with, the people that we serve, we're all voices in many, many different ways. Even if you're not the one at the microphone or the one elected, when you get up every morning and you say, how may I serve? And you walk out your front door and you go and serve and you work in community and you work together, this is how we make change and this is how we make things happen. So I accept this alongside all of you. We're all voices for justice. So together, we stand together. I wanted to answer the question that Rabbi Koski said I needed to answer in 3 minutes, and she said she'd pull me off if I didn't. He's afraid to take on the guy from New York, but he's not afraid to take on the school principal. Really? Go ahead. We could try. So, when they asked me the question, what inspires me, what person or what experience inspired me to be a voice for justice, and it can't be a family member, so I'm not allowed to say my mom, but I do have to recognize my mother, Fern Siegel over there, because she actually started this whole thing. She started this whole thing when I was a student in the inner city at Horace Mann in City Heights, and my mother wanted me to attend a different school for high school. Instead of going to the inner city high school, Crawford, thank you, Mom, for sending me to La Jolla Country Day. And I had to leave the neighborhood for the education that my parents wanted for me. And that experience helped shape who I am and how I choose to serve and how I choose to contribute as an educator. And that experience that my family gave me allowed me to ask the question, why do you need to leave your neighborhood to get an amazing education? Why do you need to pay for it? What is the promise and hope of public education in America if you can't walk down the street from your Section 8 housing and walk into the finest school in America? So I know what good money can buy. because I went to a private school. I went to college and got my teaching degree in Wisconsin, and I came back to San Diego and taught in a private school. So I know what it's like to teach in a private school. That's where I first met Rabbi Lori, actually. And I am happy to say that my first student in my very first class, my first year of teaching at Beth Israel Day School 24 years ago, Josh Gaffin is right over there. He wouldn't come up with me. So now I knew what it was like to teach in a private school and what good money could buy, and why should you have to pay for that? That's not the hope and promise of public education in America. So, and then I taught in Poway Unified what a good zip code can buy. To answer the question, who inspires me? I brought Leilani. Leilani is who I work for. A lot of people think I work for San Diego Unified. A lot of people think I work for the superintendent, Bill Koba, maybe on paper. I choose to work in a system. I choose to work in San Diego Unified, but I work for Leilani, and I work for my students. So I couldn't bring all 900 children and their families who I serve. Leilani's representing the children who I serve. And these are the children who inspire me every single day to do the work that I do. On Monday, Leilani and 9 of her 5th grade classmates were sworn into office as newly elected student council members. Leilani is a member of the Cesar Chavez Service Club, and she is also a member of Central Elementary's student council, and we were very fortunate to have the newly elected mayor and sworn in Bob Filner came in to swear in our student council on Monday at Central. On his first day of service, Leilani had her first day of service as an elected official on our campus, right alongside with the mayor on his first day, and they did the oath of office. And he had a quote that day that is very appropriate for the work that we're doing. And Leilani's going to read the quote that's one of Bob Filner's favorite quotes from Robert Kennedy, and she's prepared to say that to you now.
There are those who look at things the way they are and ask themselves why. I dream about things that never were and ask myself why not.
Thank you for recognizing and honoring the work that I do. I stand here representing all of the teachers in San Diego Unified and the teachers who work every day and all of the workers in our school to bring public education to the highest level that's possible. And Lori said there was a bet from the board if I was going to say this statement. So I'm going to let you win your bet. The mission of our work is not to produce a test score. When people say, what are we producing in public education? The product that we are delivering is an actively literate, contributing, participating member of society who makes a positive difference in the world. We give you that, not inmates in public education. Thank you.
Well, you made converts of all of us and reminded us why we are here for the future of our children in this country. And so it is my pleasure now to invite Kent Peters, I.C.W.J. board member and the director of the Office on Social Ministry, to introduce our faith honorees. And this I can tell you, other than education leaders and labor leaders, when faith leaders, when rabbis, priests, and ministers are told 3 minutes, we actually know what that means.
Lori just stole 15 seconds from me. I'm taking it back. Thank you all for being here. Good morning. I am one of 3 founding members of the Interfaith Committee for Workers Justice 14 years ago. And if someone had told me back then that this is what we would be producing 14 years from then, I would not have believed them. And imagine what things could be like 14 years from now. All right. Everybody here is working for justice. We're going to make that assumption. And almost everyone here is a person of faith. So in a sense, any one of us could be honored this way today as a person of faith. We had to narrow it down to 3. And we have a very diverse group of religious leaders we are honoring today. The first is Lalia Alawi, and she's a relatively new activist with the I.C.W.J. And as a Muslim woman, when she speaks, her voice really makes a difference. And if you will, look at page 8 after we speak. Look at page 8 for her bio. The second is Father Emmett Farrell, a good friend. He's a lifelong advocate for immigration, immigrants, and immigrant rights. And I remember back in 2000, on the very first Justice for Janitors campaign, with him marching. So we have been together for a very long time. And finally, we have watched Reverend Brown take on more and more leadership in San Diego, yet he remains entirely committed to the struggle of working families here. You'll find Father Emmett's bio on page 9, and on page 10, Reverend Brown. And I want to remember to read that they are answering the same question, what experience or person inspired them. So I am pleased to invite Lalia Alawi to share her thoughts.
And peace be upon you all. I'm extremely honored to be one of the I.C.W.J. honorees this year. This award means a lot to me, my family, and my community at large. I would like on this special day to thank my husband, my 4 princesses, I.C.W.J. staff and board of directors, the Girl Scouts, my friend, and each and every one of you today. Standing before you today is an overworking mom, inspired by every woman who could make a difference in the life of others, striving to integrate the children of immigrant families who face a lot of challenges, low income, poor parental education, language barriers that put them at risk of poor academic performance. My journey started when some parents say I initiated the first Girl Scout troop at the Islamic Center in 2004 to empower the girls and help them overcome all the obstacles they may face by integrating them into the American society without losing their faith, culture, and identity. My volunteer work at Limburg-Schweitzer Elementary School led me to interact with many immigrant families. I came across a beautiful family who recently came to America from a refugee camp escaping the war in Iraq. Their 7-year-old child is traumatized because of what the family witnessed. The parents today work day and night to survive. The child is struggling at school, unable to read or write. Without any doubt, there are hundreds of families in the same situation or worse. Last year, I took a new step in activism by participating in Immigrant Day in Sacramento, speaking on behalf of my sister in faith, who were discriminated against our workplace. I am so grateful that AB 1964 about discrimination or religious discrimination at workplace passed. And America is moving toward inclusiveness. Thank God we are witnesses of this great nation changing to accept our differences. Mary, a 10-year-old Christian Girl Scout, wrote a nice essay that was published online after her visit to the Islamic Center during the month of Ramadan. She wrote, "These Muslims were so nice and normal. The kids were like all the other kids. It may have been far from the world I was used to live in, but it was not the scary place I thought it would be. I was stuck with the harsh reality, how wrong I had been and how I had judged without any solid information. I join Mary, as I hope you all do, in believing that everyone has a part to play in upholding the best of Americans' values, the values of acceptance, equality, living peacefully together despite our religious, social, cultural, and racial differences. Our diversity will enrich us and will never harm us. Thank you.
I hope you are as touched in your hearts as I am. And thank you, Lalia, for your beautiful words. This is a teaching moment because after our breakfast, so many of us hug and embrace each other. And I want to remind you that people of diverse traditions do embrace each other differently. For Lalia, embrace her if you are female with your hands. And for people of the opposite sex, if you're male, embrace Lalia just by nodding your head or speaking with her, but without touching, because that is the Muslim tradition, and it's a learning moment for us today. It is my pleasure to invite Father Farrell to speak to us.
Good morning. I want to start off by thanking the board of the I.C.W.J. for this honor. When I said yes, then I got cold feet. And the reason I thought, well, why me? There's hundreds of you who deserve this as much or more than I do. But it is truly an honor, although it's very humbling. You know? I was called the reluctant honoree for that reason. But, I grew up on a farm in Iowa, and as a seminarian, I can remember trying to encourage the farmers to organize. They thought I was crazy. It was called the National Farmers Organization, and that didn't get very far because agribusiness took over to the family farm to a great extent. The person that really inspired me a lot in working for Workers Justice was a priest in Lima, Peru, where I was working as a missionary. His name was Father Jorge Alvarez Calderon. He was the director of the National Workers Movement, Christian Workers Movement, and he also was unofficially the executive director of what was the Priests Union. It wasn't called that, but that's what it was. And it was national. And he was always looking for what is God saying and doing through the people. And when that was spelled out and written down, it was known as liberation theology. You know? I worked with him for about 8 years. And then I was sent to the front lines. I was sent up the coast to work in a town called Chimbote. And it's a steel mill and fisherman's town. 99% of my parishioners belong to one of those two groups. And I arrived right in the middle of a national fisherman's strike. And I was taught, I learned very quickly that in the evening there was martial law and there was a strict curfew and the army controlled the streets. But there would be an odd knock at the door and I'd open, there'd be a person there. And I was told, if you don't know the person, you don't know where the fisherman's meeting is, because it was in my backyard. And I would say to them, I don't know anything about that, but if you want to appoint a baptism, come on in. I also, a few days later, I thought, well, I got to help the fishermen somehow. So I got my pickup truck and I went to Caritas and I loaded up with sacks of rice and beans and I was driving through the area. And every time I met a fisherman that I knew, I would drop off some rice and beans. I didn't know, but the army was right on my tail. And I was saved in the nick of time because a neighbor who knew me opened his garage door and he said, pull in here, and he closed the door. And just a second later, the army trucks went roaring by looking for a pickup loaded with rice and beans. My downfall, so to speak, came in that area in Chimbote when the army again, who were in power at that time, came to inaugurate the new light system, the electric lights that they were giving us. And the people's position was we should not pay for the poles, the wires, the installations. We're going to be paying for this the rest of our lives. So So I was invited in front of the Army to go to bless the new electric system, and I got up and I said just that. And the general wasn't too pleased. I went on vacation a week later, and when I came back, I received word that I was not to go back to Shimboti to my parish under pain of a penalty of suspension of my priesthood. So I never went back, having to pick up my stuff. I was told to go home and visit my family, so I did. And I sat down in the living room, and my father looked at me and he said, "Weren't you home just not too long ago?" And I said, "Yeah." He said, "What are you doing now?" So I told him my story. He looked at me and he said, "You know, I never understood what you do, but I support you now more than ever." So I packed my bags and went back to Peru. And I was sent to work, banished kind of up to the mountains for the rest of my days there. I say these things because supporting workers in justice is kind of part of my DNA. You know? And I say, how can someone who wears this collar not support justice for workers? You know? Thank you. I still have a second or two left. I vote with my feet. As those who know me know that I'm not an out front speaker. But when I get one of those emails from I.C.W.J. saying there's a strike at the local supermarket or the janitors or whatever it is, I put on this collar and I go and I stand there in the picket line and I hold a sign. And I think just by doing that, even though I don't say anything, I'm conveying a message that the church supports justice for workers. You know? So, thank you, I.C.W.J., for the honor. Thank you all for your presence and support. And thank you for all you do for worker justice. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker, honoree, his bio's in there, has a lot of wonderful attributes. But I'll give you one you may not know. He is a United States Marine Corps veteran. Please welcome my friend, Reverend Brown, to the stage.
Well, good morning. Good morning. Am I speaking to a union crowd? Yes. Am I speaking to a faith group? Yes. Well, good morning. Good morning. All right. Well, good morning. As you said, my name is Reverend Gerald Brown, and today I would like to greet my Jewish and Christian family in the words of Almighty God, El Elyon, Adonai, Yahweh, Elohim. To my Muslim brothers, I greet you in the name of Allah, the Creator, the Originator, the Fashioner. To my Native American brothers and sisters, I greet you in the name of the Great Spirit Manitou. To my Sikh family, I greet you in the name of Kata Pukabi, the Creator Being. For even as God is known, today we stand as one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for everyone. Everyone. I was asked to answer the question of who inspired me outside of my family. Who was that one person that said to me that you need to work with working families for justice? Let me give you a little family history. I see my son and my daughter over there raising their hands. While I would love to say it was them, I am one of 14 siblings. I know, you said, my Lord. I come from 3 families. My father had a family, my mother, different family, and I was a foster child. And of that family, I have 14 brothers and sisters. And we were a working class family. We were a poor family. We didn't know that we were poor. We lived in a shotgun house. If you don't know what a shotgun house is, let me explain it to you. In the southern state of Louisiana, a shotgun house is where you can take a shotgun and you can shoot it all the way through and it misses everything. So we were poor. We had a tin roof over our heads. My mother was a working woman that worked sometimes 19 to 24 hours a day around the clock. She was my inspiration. I know it's not supposed to be about my family. Thank you. I was going to take that liberty anyway. But they are the ones that set the foundation for the work that I do now for working families. When Rabbi called me in June of this year to say, we want to give you an award, like the father and like the rest of my awardees, I said, what? Me? Why me? Because as I look out over the crowd today, there are so many more that are deserving of this award. There's so many more leaders like Mickey and like Nathan here. And all of you are all leaders that deserve awards for the fight that we've been fighting for the last, well, I don't know how many years, for the rights of janitors, for the rights of UDW workers who take care of other folks and don't get paid enough. But I wanted to mention some names of my heroes so that you know who inspires me. There's a gentleman by the name of Richard Lawrence who walked with Dr. King. He was here earlier today. He inspires me. There's a gentleman that's sitting over at that table right over there that has a hat on. His name is Robert Robertson, the Broadway Heights in the community. I see you, Nathan. I can take you. Robert Robertson with Broadway Heights, my colleague. He inspires me. Oh, Lord, have mercy. Oh, I got both of them now. I'm almost here. Bishop George Dallas McKinney, Estela Del Rios, Chaplain Ulysses Downing, Chaplain Gerald Johnson, Mr. Robert Sanders. I see a young lady that came all the way from Philadelphia, and I told her to breakfast for her today. Her name is Alexandra, and she's from the Esperanza Institute. These folks inspire me because they are here in the fight every day, in out, good, bad, indifferent. They're going to be there to fight. Then let's I not mention the dynamic trio of Rabbi Koski, Sister Justine, and where's Lisa Maranata? The final person that inspires me is the person that has me here today. This name is, you know him as Reverend Robert R. He has changed his name to Ikena Kokai and Mother Mary R. Real quick in the South, when you walk into a black home, you always saw three pictures. One of Jesus, one of Dr. King, and one of JFK. In any African American home that you walked into, in any Latino home you walked in, you saw a picture of Jesus and the Blessed Mary. In my home, you walk in, you see a picture of Jesus, Barack Obama, hello somebody, Michelle Obama, and Pastor Ikena Kokai and Mother Mary R. Those are my inspirations to fight for families, never to give up. Never to give up. Today, our awards are great, but I'm asking each of you to recommit yourself to the fight. Recommit yourself to getting Lorena elected. recommit you can clap, it's okay. Recommit yourself to the process of fighting for families. And I'm going to step back now before I feel the hook of the Sandman. And I want to thank you for this award. And may God bless each and every one of you.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Rabbi Ben Kamen. I'm the founder and director here in San Diego of an agency called Reconciliation, the Synagogue Without Walls. I want to thank my longtime friend and always colleague, Rabbi Koski, and Mr. Fletcher, and my fellow board members for the privilege of offering a blessing this morning to our three honorees in the category of the faith community. I ask the indulgence of our hard-working interpreter for the hearing impaired for a moment. I think she needs to be congratulated. All that using of the hand while communicating reminds me of most of my board members and all the synagogues that I've served over the years. I want to mention very quickly that this coming Saturday evening I have the privilege of heading down to Memphis in my second home, the National Civil Rights Museum at the Lorraine Motel, the site where Dr. King, the martyr and the moral leader of labor in the 20th century, was put down to light the first Hanukkah candle. And I pray that everyone here today, whether you actually light one Saturday night or not, will see the glory of children lighting the way out of the darkness of injustice. Now today, to our dear Lalia, to Father Farrell, the Reverend Brown. Lalia, I wish my two daughters had grown up in your Girl Scout troop in that wonderful mosque and community center of love. I bless you today with the words of Rumi, the great Persian poet of life and service, a person who, like you, gives us speech with flowers. Rumi said, "This being human is a guest house. Every morning is a new arrival. A joy, a depression, a meanness. Some momentary awareness comes as an unexpected visitor. Welcome and entertain them all. Treat each guest honorably. The dark thought, the shame, the malice. Meet them at the door laughing and invite them in. Be grateful for whoever comes, because each one has been sent as a guide from beyond. May the God of humanity bless your humanity, and let us say Amen and Shalom.
We are almost to the end. We have only two things left to do together. My obligation now is to say thank you. Thank you to Carla, our American Sign Language translator. Thank you to Alejandra, who's translating in the back into translation machines. Thank you to UFCW for the gorgeous bags. You got us started 3 years ago on the bags. We missed them last year, and we never want to have a breakfast again without our bags to take home. Thank you, UFCW. And particularly to two gentlemen who are standing in the back. They make us sound good with their team. Thank you to Carlos Coda and Thane Green, our IATSE heroes. We thank you so much for the sound. It is wonderful. And I told them, make me look young, and maybe they did. Finally, from the bottom of my heart, I need to thank our I.C.W.J. staff, Steve and Lisa and Sophie. It is a joy to work with you every single day. There is never a harsh moment in our office if you want to come for a little love there. And it is my great pleasure to call Elizabeth Maldonado to call us all into action.
Deck the halls with vows of fairness, fa la 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 la. We'll it's not so lonely up here when you sing with me. We have written some great carols for justice, and I invite you to join me in supporting determined workers at the Marriott La Jolla. These workers endure unbearable workloads and low wages. We will be caroling for justice on Friday, December 21st. Let's support these workers and give them nourishment during the holiday season. Please, all of the information is in the flyer that is located in your program book, and we want to let you know that we have bright young people who are working on their new status under the Dreamer immigration policy, and they are selling these blue wristbands. If you would care to support them, they are in the back on your way out. So we're going to try a little singing just before I leave to practice for Friday the 21st. So it's Deck the Halls with Vows of Fairness, fa la 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 la. Well, you all know that part. So, is everybody ready? Here we go. Deck the halls with vows of fairness. Beautiful. We look forward to seeing you all on the 21st.
All right, we're done. You're like 2 minutes away. Thank you for your patience and a wonderful program. When you leave this morning, I know you won't leave without making a contribution in the envelopes that are on your table. Put in a small amount. You can hand it on the way out. Whatever you can give, whatever you have the ability to give, will be greatly appreciated. This time I want to invite to the stage Reverend Allison Thomas and Reverend Madison Shockley to close this morning's breakfast with blessings.
Please stand. Let us pray. Direct us, O God, so that all our doings, begun, continued, and ended in you, may bring glory to your holy name. Guide all people who are facing difficult choices about their life's work. Support those laboring faithfully, contributing to the good of all. Encourage those who are underemployed or facing a time of unemployment. On this day, we especially ask your blessing for those who are prophetic voices for justice for all people, be it through their words or actions, but live out and give witness to your caring, compassion, and love. And in that spirit we pray, Almighty God, descend down upon us a hunger to be your hearts, hands, and presence to a world sorely in need of good news, and then give us the courage and will to follow wherever you may lead. We pray, Almighty God, you will be our comfort, our strength, our hope and support, our light and our way. In leaving here this morning, may we all remember the words of St. Clare. Live without fear. Your Creator has made you holy, has always protected you, and loves you as a mother. Go in peace to follow the good road, and may God's blessings be with you always. Amen.
Let us continue in prayer. As we depart from this place, let us take with us the gifts shared among us this morning. May the joy of our victories, the clarity of our vision, and the harmony of our voices raised for justice carry us into the world with hope. Holy God of justice, we are thankful that each man and each woman gathered here today are bestowed with a divine dignity that no human force can take away. We are thankful that as we stand together against oppression and exploitation, we allow that divine dignity to shine through the struggles and hardships we encounter. Holy One, may we leave today bearing the light of truth, the strength of righteousness, and the endowment